Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium, spirit navigator. This is going to be a political video and I'm really pumped. I just figured something out. Doesn't mean that it's good necessarily, but I feel good about figuring something out. I finally got guidance from my spirit guides that helped me connect some dots. So I want to tell you right now, we're in this freaking waiting room. We're in the waiting room of our country deciding if it's going to be a democracy or not. You know what I mean? Is it going to be a girl or a boy? Is it going to be an authoritarian dictatorship or is it going to be a democracy? We don't know till the baby's born. That's where I feel like we're at. We're in this excruciating place where we're having to wait because of free will. Okay. It is not decided. Obviously, Harris hasn't decided. Biden hasn't decided. They just haven't decided. So here's what I figured out that I want to share with you, which is, and I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just going to try to get it out while I still have it going through my consciousness, which is I'm seeing Barack Obama. I'm seeing, I'm trying to hold on to this energy. Okay. I'm seeing Biden and I'm seeing Harris. Harris is kind of on the periphery because she feels like she wants to win this the traditional way. She doesn't want to recount. She doesn't want to prove that she won because then there's a question about you know what I mean? She doesn't want to be the question mark president. She wants to be the rah bringing America together president. That's what she wants. So her energy has been kind of offline about this right now. And obviously, you go through the stages of grief. I don't know why the light is going up and down. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to keep going. She's going through the stages of grief. So she might not be to anger yet and action yet. Okay. But when I go into this energy, this is what's important to understand. It's super important to understand. Everything hinges on this. Everything hinges on the fact that Biden and Obama are having conversations with people that you would know, like Lawrence Tribe or whatever these pundits are, these ex-judges, whatever they are, constitutional scholars, because the question is, this is the question that they're wrangling with. Okay. If they do not challenge the count and they say, we're going to trust in the checks and balances, our country, the founders, our Constitution was created with. We believe that there are so many checks and balances. There's state courts, federal courts, appeals courts. There's so many checks and balances here. There's Congress, there's the Supreme Court. That can we just allow the original founding robust, our checks and balances, our democracy, the way our democracy is designed is very robust. It's much more robust than other democracies because we're a republic, because all the states, you know what I mean? I mean, again, the guides told you, look what happened. Raffensperger, who was a Republican, said, no, I'm not finding you those votes. No. Pence, Republican, vice president, said, no, I'm not getting in the car. I'm not going to throw this democracy. So you have this kind of intellectual conversation going on between Biden and, Harris is there, but I'm telling you, it makes her stomach churn. So she's there, but she's not actively engaged in it as of yet. That's the energy that I'm reading. But they're having this scholarly discussion. Well, it'll be okay because our democracy is so robust and the courts will come through and something like having 45 win will actually strengthen our democracy because the courts will have to be more robust in protecting citizens' rights and protecting the EPA and protecting the FDA. And, the courts will have to step in. And in this way, our democracy will get stronger because we'll choose what we want. Now, I've got other videos coming out, like a lot of videos, but our lesson here to learn is that we need to choose. Do we want a strong authoritarian type government without a Department of Education? Do we want that? Do we value the Department of Education? Do we value our libraries? Do we value the EPA? Do we value that? We have to make these choices. Period. End of story. Are we upset enough about gun violence that we're going to really force a change? This is truly a new identity is being born for the United States of America. Okay. Now, I've got another video about that that'll explain that more. But I want to just say that what these men are thinking about is, should we just allow our checks and balances to do their thing? It's just, again, I don't know if I've told you guys this, but the spirit guides were talking about this being a stress test. Like if you've ever, and I haven't, but I've had a personal trainer who stressed me, you're on the treadmill and they're like pushing the button to go higher or faster. And you're like, what the heck? They're stressing you. Can you do it? At what point do you fail? Do you fail here? Do you fail here? Where do you fail? This is our stress test. Do we believe that America is racist and needs more guardrails to protect non-white people? Or do we not? Where is the stress test going? Where are we going to fail that stress test? And you and I, hopefully, would say, yes, we need more guardrails to protect anyone who's not white. We need more guardrails against corporate greed. That's the Democratic platform. We would say yes, but then our fellow Americans would say no. We don't need anything. We should just let it be a free-for-all. We should just let it be a fist fight in the street. Just let us all beat each other up until somebody comes out a victor. Okay, guess what? We've been living with these two very different ideals of America. And we can't stand it anymore. We cannot we cannot continue to say that they're equal. That's what it is. We cannot continue to say that that's equal. We humans, we Americans have decided either you're wrong or I'm wrong. And we need a referee to decide which is which. And that's going to be the direction the United States goes in. It's all or nothing. This is all or nothing. One side is going to win. The other side is going to lose. The side that wins will dictate the next decade, at least, if not the next 100 years. That's how important this is. Yet, Obama, who was a constitutional scholar and, a big Lincoln enthusiast, and Biden are like, maybe the courts can sort this out. Why do we don't want to be dictators? Again, the same thing about Biden needing to take that power, about the Democrats needing to take the power. If you really believe that we need to protect people that are not white, then you need to show us. You need to take the power. If you really believe that school kids should be able to have free lunches, if you really believe that we need an EPA, if you really believe, in these democratic principles, then you're going to have to do something, because just saying, oh, well, the people didn't want it is not true, because this was stolen. Okay. Now, what are you going to do? You have to stand and say, it's just like we're the kids on the school ground that are getting bullied. And our parent is over there saying, oh, they're going to learn how to stand up for themselves. They're going to learn how to throw a punch. They're just going to have to figure it out on their own. We've been abandoned. But one of the reasons they're stuck in their decision making is this whole idea of the Constitution and the court system, the checks and balances should be enough to see us through. Let's allow the Constitution, let's see if it really will hold up to an attack from within. That's what they're thinking. And it's wrong because it hasn't held up, because the Constitution was made when there were muskets, because we are not who we were when the Constitution was written, and the people that are represented in the Constitution were slaves. This system is rigged against certain people. Period. End of story. So no, honey, the Constitution is not going to save us. The checks and balances have already failed us. There's already 2 tiers of justice. If we just look even at Trump himself, anybody else would already be in jail, literally, a long time ago, decades ago, especially if they weren't white. So there's a tyranny here, an infestation, a rot. You know, the other video I did talks about the rot and how this rot is making it so we have to do something, you know, and maybe one side wants to amputate the leg and the other side is like, no, let's get some penicillin, you know, I don't know, put some stuff on it. You cannot ignore that it's there. We need to dig in and we need to witness it and we need to accept it and we need to own it. Us, white people, Democrats need to own. And the word I'm getting is malfeasance. We've been asleep at the wheel. We've allowed this rot to happen on our watch. And now we have to fix it. But the reason I'm doing this video is because I all of a sudden understood the thinking, at least, because I like to explain, I like to understand things, right? It just drives me crazy to just think that Biden won't do it because it's never been done before, or he'll look bad, or he'll look like a dictator himself. You know, I mean, there's no good options here. No good options. Zero. If the Democrats grab power, the media and everybody else is going to say they're dictators. All along, they've accused 45 of being one, and yet they turned into one. But they've got to do it anyway. Sometimes you just have to do it and know in your heart it's the right thing. And know in your heart, people may judge you or tear you down for it. But you just have to do what you know in your heart is the right thing. Now, again, it's free will. I don't know what they're going to decide because they're thinking that right, the guides are saying an easy out. When I just said there's no easy out, there's no easy solution. Well, the guide said this is an easy solution, right? You just say, you know, the framers of the Constitution were really smart and we have a rigorous system of checks and balances. We're a republic. That's why we're a republic, so that the power isn't situated in Washington, D.C. It's actually spread out over the states. And then you have the Congress, and then you have the House and the Senate, and then you have the courts, and then you have the Supreme Court, and then you have all these. How could a dictator take over all of that? It's impossible. It's impossible. We'll be fine. It's just a stress test. We're just going to get stronger because when you're tested, you get stronger. This is their thinking. This is why women need to be in the White House, because this is some crazy thinking right here. No, the answer is no. That is not going to work. Yeah, it's a stress test, all right. But obviously the system is not going to save us because it hasn't saved us yet. The people are going to have to save the system. The people are going to have to save the country. And we have got to wake up and stop passing our power to senators or representatives or the president. We've got to understand that every single day, every week, every month, Our job is citizen of the United States, and we need to be very involved in our local government because that's how they got to the presidency. They started local and then they keep ascending. And the other thing is we've got to get to this media. We've got to get to this disinformation and misinformation. We have to. We've got so the courts, the system cannot handle this. It's like saying the patient is going to get better on their own. No, you need an intervention. You need a surgeon. You need a specialist. The patient cannot get better on their own. But to me, this explains why they're sitting on this and trying, all the readers were like, my God, they're not making a decision. I mean, you go into their energy, they're like, there's no decision. It has not been decided. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Mind-blowing. But now that I understand why they're hesitating to make a decision, because they're considering this false, in my opinion, and I'll ask the spirit guides. Yeah, the spirit guides are saying it cannot stand as it is. Um, the country will not. Again, I have another video coming out about this, but the bottom line, you guys, is this: this country will never be the same. Okay, it will never, ever, ever be the same after this. Certain communities, Black communities, whatever communities, have decided and have felt taken advantage of. They have felt unsupported. They have felt attacked. We're not the same people. None of us are the same people after what happened that day. We really have turned a page, like Kamala Harris says. We have turned a page. We are not going back. That is true. But what that means is we're not going back to the innocence, the very misguided and irresponsible innocence, the innocence of there aren't kids in cages, the innocence of racism isn't that bad, the innocence of there isn't a pipeline to prisons, the innocence of undocumented workers are not here, even though my refrigerator is full of food that they helped me get at a price I can afford. Bingo, we cannot go back to that. We're going to go forward. And that might mean towards a strong man type government, less control, less rights, or it might mean a completely new type of democracy where we are really more involved and really demanding better guardrails and better treatment of everyone, but most importantly, non-white people. That's it. Going to change 100%. Period. End of story. We're not going back. But how will it change? What decisions will they make? Will they step into the void, the unknown, the uncharted, and grab the power because they know in their heart they're not a dictator? They know in their heart it's for the best of the people. Will they save the day? Will they save the country? I don't know, because they're over here thinking that the courts can handle it, that the Constitution is robust. It's robust. It can handle it. That's a bunch of bullshit. It hasn't handled anything. My God, people are walking around with AKs thinking it's the Second Amendment when they wrote it when there was muskets. The thinking is insane. So hopefully they'll wake up and be like, yeah, this isn't going to work. But at least I can understand now why they're thinking what they're thinking, even if it is insanity. Regardless of which direction we go in this new experiment, because it literally is, we're going to go a new direction, I promise you. Even if the Democrats get in, it's going to be completely different. It has to be, because we have to own up to what's happening. We have to own up to our history. We have to own it. We have to start to heal it. So no matter what, 2025 starts a whole new brave world. Okay. Either way, there are challenges. Even if Harris gets it, you can only imagine how much friction, how much trouble we're going to get from the other side who had their victory snatched from them. But this is not going to be an easy path forward either way. Either way, we're going to have to have patience. We're going to have to stand together as a community, because even if Harris gets in, your community, your MAGAs are going to go crazy. Okay. So, regardless, the bottom line is community. What the spirit guides have been telling you, community is important. You need to have community. You need to know who in your community, needs help or who's trustworthy. It's all about community. This is how we're going to get through this. Okay. Let me know what you think in the comments. I have other videos coming out that I've already made, but I jumped on here because I'm like, oh my God, these people are thinking that the Constitution is going to save us when the Constitution is the whole reason we're in this mess, because there's holes in it. There's literally Swiss cheese holes in it that the Republicans have exacerbated and used to their own good. Hang in there, folks. Take really good care of yourselves. We're here regardless. We've got to get through this either way. Either way. So take good care of you. That's important. It's very important right now for you to take care of you. Okay? It's everything. You're breathing every day. You're here whether you like it or not. So do small things to take care of yourself. Little things, happy things. You can have joy. You can be okay even with a 45 presidency, because you chose to live here at this time and you're alive and you're breathing. Make the best of it. Shine your light so that others can also benefit from your light. You know, being sad and depressed for 4 years, I mean, you can do that. I get it. I'm sometimes sad and depressed too. But again, play all the notes in the song of your life. Try to play the low notes, the middle notes, and the high notes, because that's an interesting song. Nobody wants to hear a bunch of low notes over and over again. We get bored of that. Allow spirit, allow your life to continue as best you can. So when we get on the other side of this, you're in decent shape to be able to have a better life. Okay? I'll be back. Take really good care. For entertainment purposes only.